Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Let's wait a couple of minutes. Greg is joining soon. He will present by 7:5. Just wait a couple of minutes. Thank you. Hello, Greg. How are you?
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm fine. Good evening. Sorry for the delay. The WhatsApp shut down on my laptop, so I had to open it again. So I think I will share my screen now so that I just begin to present. So
Yes.
my name is Greg Godi. This is Group 5. I will be presenting assignment 5. Let me quickly share my screen. Sorry, is my screen visible?
Yeah, it is visible.
It's okay. Just give me a minute. Let me take up this. Okay. Just give me a minute. I'm trying to like take this. So the assignment is basically assignment 5 has to do with agents, your AI team. So the assignment instructor says what you did, 5 lines per task, what you learned, 2 lines, and any issue you face, and how you solve it if applicable. So task 1, we have to set up the sub-agent files. And our goal is to create the .cloud_agents folder and press all 3 sub-agent files correctly. And the sub-agent files are security-auditor.md, tf-writer.md, and cost-optimizer.md. So if we were to go to our resources here, I hope you can see my screen. You see these are the files, tf-optimizer.md. Then we have to move the files into that folder exactly as required. Open each file and verify. The file name matches the name field inside formatter. We have to confirm that the agent file in the correct location. Then we'll take our screenshot. What task 2 are to explain the skills and sub-agents. What I basically want to like read through all we're going to do first before I start is basically I already have a documentation which will guide me on what I'm to do and what I have done. So I don't want to be opening too many tabs, not to confuse myself. So task 2 says we should explain the skills and classes of sub-agents. So what is the goal? To show that you understand when to use the skill and when to use the sub-agent. So I have a question. Compare skills and sub-agents using this point, how they start, whether they are shared context or isolated context, whether they see chart history, tool control and model control. Then answer this final question. Needs conversational context, use the skill. Self-contained job, use a sub-agent. Explain this rule in your work with 1 DevOps example for each. Then task 3, walk through the 3 sub-agents. Goal, understand what each sub-agent is designed to do. So what to do for each sub-agent below, write a short explanation, security-auditor, tier the writer, cost optimizer. In your explanation, include what the sub-agent does, which tools it gets, which model it uses, and why that model choice makes sense, whether it should be read-only or write-enabled. Then answer this question, why is security auditor read-only and why is it write access? Then task 4, to run a real agent review plus a LinkedIn post, which is mandatory. So go run at least one sub-agent on your Terraform file and publicly share what you learned, what to do. In Cloud Code, run at least one of the following prompts. You could either run and audit my Terraform file for security issues or review my Terraform infrastructure for cost optimization. In my own case, I did for cost optimization, and you document what you have done. So this is the documentation. Let's start with this documentation. So this. So the task 1, what I did, I created a .cloud/agents directory structure inside my project root. Then I downloaded the 3 sub-agent markup files, security auditor, security-auditor.md, tf-writer.md, cost-optimizer.md from the lecture resources and moved them into Cloud agents. Finally, I opened each file to verify the name field in the front formatter and make sure it matched the file name exactly. So what I learned, Cloud Code automatically discovers sub-agents by scanning the .cloud agents folder as startup. The file name must match exactly the name field in the YAML formatter, otherwise the agent will be registered correctly. Issues faced and solutions. Issue folder didn't exist by default in the project, so you have to make the folder. Solution, use make directory -p.cloud front/agents to create nested folders in one command. Issue, one field had a mismatch between file name and name field. Solution, rename the file to match the formatter name exactly. So these are the setup commands. that you do run on the cloud terminal. So you run this command step by step in the cloud terminal. Step 1, you run the make directory -p cloud/agents. Then you verify that the files are in place. When you do that, it's going to show you an empty directory. Then you now check the formatter match file names. When you do this, head-5.cloud agent security auditor MDF and all that, it's not going to give you anything. It will ask you to create it. Then you type yes, then to create. So let me go to my terminal now. So if you look at it, I have logged into my cloud by using the cloud command, and it logged me in. Then I typed the make directory -p.cloud agent. See what batch is saying, make directory p/home Greg ultimate agentic DevOps cloud agents. Directory created at cloud agents. Then I ran the ls-la.cloud_agents. It read one file. It told me it's an empty directory. Just the dot and the dot entries, no agent files yet because we just created it. So that's the next thing that is going to ask you, okay, created it. So by the time I run that second command, instead of head-5.cloud agent security auditor, it read the file and told me this file doesn't exist yet. Would you like me to create a security auditor.md agent definition? So I typed yes. So when I type yes, it now created. So you say the right cloud, wrote 50 lines, gave me all this, created this agent. By the time I typed the second one for the security auditor.md, it still gave me the same thing. I had to type yes. You see, it told me cloud agent.tf writer file doesn't exist. Should I create a writer file? I typed yes, and it did that. So it did that, created that. So we did that. When I typed yes for even the agent customizer, the file doesn't exist yes. When I typed yes, it now created it for me. So after creating the file, the next thing you're supposed to do is to download the files, which I downloaded. Then also, initially, sorry, just give me a minute. Let me see if I can minimize. Okay. Okay, no, sorry. Okay. So after doing that, I downloaded these files from resources. But when it created these files for me and created for me, it had a different information here. So I had to download each of these files from the downloaded file. A challenge I actually experienced was that each time I was opening it, it was opening to Visual Studio Code. So I had to now open the file with my notepad, deleted the context and repeated the content so that what I have exactly will be exactly what we were asked to do. So what we're asked to do. So I did that thing for the 3 files. So after doing that for the 3 files, took the screenshot. Let's go back to the terminal. Sorry. So let's go back to the terminal. Then based on the documentation, we'll go back to the documentation and continue. So once we do that, so it tells the explicit output, each file should show me the name security auditor matching the file name without the MDF at the project level. So basically, if you look at this, it was asking us to do that to take the screenshot. So when you look at the agency, you say you have these 3 files. So that covers that aspect. I just want to do a run through. Maybe we might start again and run it from the scratch, pending. So then you have to take add the following screenshot. Terminal showing ls.la cloud agents with all 3 files. So you just basically copy this ls.la.cloud agents, which is what we did here. That we have here, ls-la.cloud agents. You do this at the terminal. So you told us it was an empty directory. But when you're doing, if you do it again, it will show you everything. Then we also, let's continue from here. So contents of each MDF file showing your name in the formatter. So basically, if you go here and open all those files, you see the first file I open, tf.md. What is the name? So tf.writer, security auditor, security.auditor. Then cost optimizer showing you cost optimizer. So that covers that aspect of what the question is asking us to do there. So task 2 says explain skills and sub-agents. What I did, I researched the conceptual difference between Claude code skills and sub-agents by reviewing the lecture material and Claude code documentation. I then created a comparison table and wrote DevOps examples for each pattern to demonstrate when to use which approach. What I learned. The key insight is context isolations. Skills run inside the same conversation and share all history, while sub-agents are spawned as completely separate Claude instances that receive only what the orchestrator expressly passes to them to do what. So skills versus sub-agent comparison, how they start skills. For skills, it is invoked inline by the orchestrator in the same session, while for sub-agent, it is spawned as a brand new Claude instance via task control and the context type. For skills, it is shared. You see full conversation. While for sub-agent is isolated, only receives what the orchestrator passed in. Therefore, chart history assets for the skills, the full history is visible. While for sub-agents, it starts with a blank state. Then tool control. For the skills, it inherits all tools from the parent session. While for sub-agents, it gets only the tools explicitly defined in its format, front formatter. The model control uses the same model as orchestrator for the skills. Why? For the sub-agents, can specify its own model in font formatter, e.g., haiku for speech, then sonnet for reasoning. So that's the comparison, the access to the core role explained. Needs conversation context, use a skill. Self-content job, use a sub-agent. So in plain terms, if you ask your task needs to remember what was said earlier in the conversation, like reformatting an answer, Claude just gave up, continue a multi-step dialogue, use a skill because it stays inside the same session. But if your task is a standalone job that can be fully described upfront with no need to look back at the chat issue, like auditing a file or writing fresh codes, use a sub-agent which runs independently on its own clean context. So I have a DevOps example here using skill. Scenario. A developer is developing a YAML pipeline error. They paste the error log and ask Claude to fix it. Then they say, now explain why that broke. So why use skill? The second question references the error and the fix Claude just provided. A skill keeps the full conversation in context. So Claude can explain precisely what happened without the developer repasting anything. So this is a DevOps example for using a sub-agent scenario. You need to scan all Terraform files in a repo for hard-coded AWS credentials before a deployment. Why subnets? This is a fully self-contained security scan. The subnet receives the file path, runs its analysis, and returns a report. It doesn't need any chat history. It just needs the files and clear instruction to do what you do. So your screenshot, your notes or diagram showing the skill of the subnet comparison, which you have done there, you just scan it and paste it in your file. So task 3, walk through 3 sub-agents. Notes what we did. I opened each of the 3 subnet agent files and carefully read through the font formatter, the model, the tools, the permissions, and the system prompt instructions. I then run a summary of each agent explaining its purpose, tool set, model choice, and access level, what I learned. Agent design is intentional. The model and the tool choices reflect the risk level and complexity of each task. Read-only access is a security principle. An auditor should never be able to accidentally change what it is reviewing. Then sub-agent summary, you have the security dash auditor, what it does. It scans Terraform files for security misconfiguration, things like open security groups, public S3 buckets, missing encryption, overly permissive IAM roles, and hard-coded secrets. The tools it gets. Read-only file tools only, e.g. RAID, grep, ls. No write or shell execution tool. So security auditor does not execute shell execution or no write tools as well. It just basically does the RAID, the grep, and the listing of your context of your folders or your folders. Then which model does the security auditor use? It uses the Claude-Sonnet 4.5 or 4 to 5. Or as specified in your front formatter. And it's a high reasoning model appropriate for catching subtle security flaws. Why that model so true choice? Security analysis requires careful, nuanced reasoning. A smarter model reduces false negatives. read-only tools ensure the auditor cannot accidentally modify what it is reviewing. When we talk about false negatives, that is when it detects an error and tells you there's an error where there's actually no error. So you imagine if most times it is scanning and doing things, and each time it's telling you there's an error and the team has to come in physically to intervene. So it tries to eliminate the false negative. So basically, it only gives you negative scenarios or situation when there's actually a negative situation or scenario. Read only or write enable. It is read only. So you don't alter things. So the correct design, which you understand, is that an auditor that can write files could theoretically change the code it is reviewing. That would invalidate the audit and create a major security risk. That's why it should be read only. It should not be, because you can mistakenly even alter the file. You should not even have that right of being able to alter the file so that it doesn't cause a major security risk. So then the TF writer, what it does, the TF writer generates, modifies and writes Terraform's configuration files, TF files, based on infrastructure requirements. It can scaffold new modules, add resources, or update existing configs. So tools it gets, read and write file tools, and potentially batch for running Terraform FMT format or Terraform validate. Model it uses the Claude Sonnet 4 version or 5 version. It needs strong code generation capability to produce correct and logically sound Terraform HCL, which is a language for writing Terraform script and all that. Why that model or tool choice? Writing infrastructure as a code requires precision, as an incorrect Terraform file can cause real infrastructure failures. Write assets is essential because the entire purpose of this agent is to produce files. So it can be read only, it can be write enabled. It has both assets because it's producing files. Then the cost of that, what does it do? The cost optimizer reviews Terraform configuration to identify cost-saving opportunities, oversized instances, idle resources, meeting auto scaling properties, expensive storage classes, and unused reserve capacity. Two, it's going to get read-only file tools. May also have websites to look up current AWS, GPC, Azure pricing, model and usage. It uses typically a faster, cheaper model like Claude, Heiko, or Sonnet, since this is pattern matching against known cost anti-patterns, not deep security reasons. Why that model? Tool choice. Cost optimization is a well-defined analysis task. A faster model keeps the review quick. Read-only is appropriate because recommendations should be reviewed by a human before any changes are made. Read-only or write enabled. Read-only is recommended for the customer. So why security-auditor read-only? And why the TF writer needs write access? Security auditor is read-only because his job is to observe and report, never to change anything. If an auditor could write files, it could accidentally or maliciously alter the very code it was supposed to be reviewing, which would compromise the integrity of the audit. The principle of principle means an agent only gets the permission it absolutely needs to do the job. TF writer needs write access because its entire purpose is to create or modify Terraform files. Without write access, it literally cannot fulfill its job. The risk is accepted and managed by running it in a controlled environment and reviewing its output before applying. So when you run so of your screenshot, content of the security.auditor MD file showing formatter name and model, screenshot contents of the Terraform and showing formatter model as well. So what they're basically telling you there is just to go to your, okay. So let's do this chapter. What they're telling you basically is just to open each of these your files. To open it, take your screenshot for the tfwriter.md, security.md, course.md. Those are the screenshots you have to take to cover that aspect for their accent. Then, sorry, let me just go down to where to run all this. So basically, we will still get there. So let me go back to the documentation. Then we're going to go to the next stage, okay, which is supposed to be, I think that's 4.
Greg, your voice is low, actually.
Beg your pardon, you say?
Yeah, it's okay now.
Yes,
Okay.
it was just taking time.
Okay.
Now task 4, we have to run a really agent review plus a listing post. So what I did, I opened Claude in my Terraform project directory and ran the prompt. Audit my Terraform file for security. Claude automatically selected the sub-agent based on the task decision. The agent scanned all Terraform files and returned a structure finding report. I then wrote and published a LinkedIn post. I will then do that because I'm still working on that. So let me show that on my screen. Okay, see? So basically, in this case now, see, I changed to Terraform from the Claude code. It now told me, read one file. You are in Terraform, current files, main.tf, core resources, output.tf, output, Terraform.local, provider log file, Terraform.cc, state file already applied. What would you like to do? Review my Terraform infrastructure for cost optimization. Agent, cost optimized Terraform infrastructure, done, 42 uses, 15.3 thousand tokens in 48 seconds. Cost optimization report, infrastructure summary, S3 bucket and website configured, deployed. Cloudflare distribution is not in Terraform state. State drift, never fully applied or was destroyed. Why that is saying that is that basically when I was doing the assignment for my CloudFront, because I just opened the new subscription, it's asking me to do verification, data verification, because basically AWS is more stricter with their restrictions as regards CloudFront and all that. That's why it was giving me that part. So findings for priority, what are the findings? It said I should add price underscore class to the price underscore class 100 to CloudFront. Currently defaults to price underscore all, which is 2 to 3 times more expensive. Said I should resolve the state drift. CloudFront is running exists in the main.terraform file, but it's not in state. Run Terraform from to confirm and apply or clean. I'd run the plan before. When I ran the apply, it told me I had to like do that verification for my AWS. Then set explicit TTLs default to 31,153,356,000. Then I should remove that the AWS underscore S3 underscore website configuration redundant. When using CloudFront plus OEI and exposes a direct to S3 by pulse route. Then add the S3 lifecycle rule to transition objects to standard underscore AI after 30 days. So take recommendation. Add this to main Terraform in your CloudFront distribution block. Price on as a class, which is price on as 100. Then this is the single highest impact change. Price class underscore all is the default and most expensive option for a portfolio site with US EU traffic. Price class on 100 covers all realistic use cases at the lowest cost. Wanting to apply enough decisions for main.tf. Well, okay, let's type yes. See what it's going to do. So upon changes in Visual Studio Code, do you want me to make this edit to main.tf? Yes. So this is what it's saying now. It now showed us this up there. So it has made the update, price class, which is suggested we should do. Then do you want me to make this edit to your main.tf? Okay, yes. There you go. Disgusting. So asking me to run Terraform plan. Okay, run Terraform plan to review before applying. I think we are still in. Let me just confirm change and see what error. Well, actually, this is not basically for the assignment because we're done, but so TF plan. We're basically just done, but even if I do the apply, okay, let's just get a feel of it before I end. If you look at here now, it's refreshing the state. It's okay. So what did he give us here? Saying Terraform plan summary he ran. He said, create AWS CloudFront distribution site, new distribution with distribution 100, price class underscore 100, Netflix TL. Create AWS S3 bucket lifecycle configuration. Then that destroy AWS bucket configuration site, which complain about risks and nodes. No resource replacement. S3 bucket and OAI are untouched. CloudFront creation takes 10 to 20 minutes to propagate globally. One flag to watch, minimum protocol on the version. Then agent flagged TLS version 1.2 as the minimum. Consider adding to VOI certificate. Minimum protocol version. TLSL version 1.2 requires a custom ACM alert. Last radius, low, no existing resources are modified repair. Safe to apply. So ready to run this and that. So I will just TF can apply. But that is not needed for this. So I should say we're done. I was just trying to do so I can. Okay. So how to run the agent cloud? This is what we did. We have changed to the parts because in my own part, I'm working under the ultimate agentic AI. So basically, when I change to that part, I just type plot. This is what I am talking about. If I want to do this, and I just type plot here. Once I press enter, it takes me to that plot terminal that we're seeing here. Shows to. And that's cool. So we have done all this from the script. Actually, the security auditor, that's what I'll put there. What things findings is returns. We had issues about the S3 bucket. We had issues about the price class and all that. Then we also said that talked about platform was not default. What surprised me the most? What surprised me the most was basically that when he ran through my setup, he detected that the cloud front has not been provision has not been deployed, but suddenly deployed. That platform is not actually working because basically I have issues with that. That was surprised me. Then what improvement am I going to make? Basically, all the suggestions talked about the price class and all that. I will apply the suggestions. So the next thing that's remaining is the LinkedIn post, which I believe we will do later. And then also, I think I should just stop sharing my screen since I'm done because this part is just going to take some time before it gets deployed. So thank you very much, everyone. Done presenting. Okay. Stop share.
Thank you so much.
So thank you very much for this opportunity to have presented this.
Thank you so much, Greg.
Manish is there.
No, sir.
Okay, just a minute, let me check it. Just
Greg is there or left?
Left, I think.
Yeah, he's there.
I have some questions to ask.
Sorry, my network logged me out just now. I had to reconnect back again.
yeah. Meantime, you can ask question. Bhupen.
All right. Greg, I have a question.
Well, yeah. What's your question? Let me open my documentation.
When you created the when you mentioned the files and the agent was not able to find the files like that security hyphen auditor dot md and that.
No, to find the files, basically, it found the files. It found the files because it found the files. What I meant was that actually, when it was scanning the files, it noticed I didn't have my CloudFront provisioned. And that was because when I was doing the assignment for deploying my live URL on CloudFront, by the time I applied Terraform.applied, it told me that I will need to contact AWS customer support, that AWS has increased its stricter restrictions as regards CloudFront. So basically at that stage, I have to wait for like a day or two for them to reply me back to give me that authentication for me to run the CloudFront. So what I said, what surprised me was that I was surprised I was able to detect that I had not done the CloudFront, because after I was done assignment 5, you know, I had to go through my Terraform file. While checking through my Terraform file, and I realized that I had not done the CloudFront. That's what I mean.
No, like what I'm asking is when you run the command at in very first like hat -5 and then .cloud agent and security auditor.md. So it was saying that there is no file. Then it asks you to create the file. And as you type yes, it created the file.
Okay. I get what you're saying now. If I run it again now, to show me what is there, because I've already created the file. I get what you're saying.
No. Now it is created, but previously it was asking that the file is not there. Okay. So my question is that. So my question is that if I'm going to use the same file which this agent gave to me, if suppose I'm going to use the same file in my production or in my any environment, is it safe for me to use that file?
The one is okay. Basically, as for the security, depends on how do I put it? Security.md has to do with it's read access. So it now depends on the access you give. If your access is read access, if you use it on production, it will be okay.
No, basically the
If
thing
it
is, okay, it is creating the file automatically, right? So whatever the thing is, whatever it learned from the large language model, whatever it is learning, accordingly it is making the file, because you are not giving the instruction, so it gives
okay,
you the
okay, okay,
okay.
I get you. I get your question. Let me answer you now. I get your question. Yes, when it told me, when I told you yes, and it created the file, basically, because when you give instruction, there must also be human intervention. When it created the files, you find out that the contents of the security.mdf was not in consonance with what cloud adversary wanted to use. So I had to delete that information and paste the one we have crafted, which is ready for production, which we pasted. So basically, if you tell it yes to create for you, must supervise and see what it was created. Because when it created for me, I had to now delete all the files there, and I now pasted the one cloud adversary DMI crafted for us, which is okay for our environment. So does that answer you, sir?
Okay. The next thing is you mentioned that some agent was there. I mean, some agent and skill and sub-agent. So can you describe in this simple word, like what is agent, what is sub-agent, and what is skill, in a 1 or 2 line? That's it for each thing.
When you talk about skills basically gives you a chat history that basically you don't, like if you're talking with your chat, you're chatting now, basically it keeps the history. So you might not need to ask the next question. But when you talk about sub-agent, it does the work for you. Like for instance, you want to do something that has to do with searching your pattern and all that and spawning this thing, it does that for you. That's what the sub-agent. So that's different between the sub-agent and the.
Can you give me some real life example?
Okay, just give me a minute. Just give me a minute.
Like if we talk about DMI, so whom you can say is the agent and whom is the sub-agent and what is the skill? If we talk about DMI, so who will be the agent, who will be the sub-agent, and what is the skill? Fine, let me tell you, we are not wasting our time. Agents are something which are deciding the work. So your mentor, lead commenter, and co-mentors all are the agents. You guys who are working on them, you are sub-agents, and the technicals, like technical things, the DevOps tools you are using, that is a skill. Okay.
So if I get you correctly, the skills are the DevOps tools, while we are the sub-agent, because we are the one actually running the tasks and all that. We are the sub-agents. Then the skills are basically you, the commenters and all that, giving us what we need to do. Okay. I like that analogy.
Agents means like if our mentor, like Praveen sir is there, Praveen Mishra sir is there, co-mentors are there, they are agents. They are assigning you the task. So agent is something which is assigning you the task or which is giving you the blueprint. Okay, this is the thing we have to do. In the company, in the enterprise, your manager will be your agent. Sub-agent, a person who is performing the task, skill by using which we can perform the task. Like the DevOps tools will be the skills, sub-agents, a person who is performing the task, and agent who is giving the task. Okay.
Tasks.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Very simplified. I'm grateful. It is sinking in better now with that analogy.
Okay, any question? Any other question? If no question, then no problem. And well done, Greg. You answered very well. And from Manish team, there is no one available today. So we will resume our session tomorrow at the same time for assignment number 6 and 7 remaining. We will complete it by tomorrow. Okay. Okay, then thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
sir.
Bye-bye, sir. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you once again, Mr. Prondra, for that analogy. It is sinking in now.
Thank you.
And Greg, you will get extra 50 marks today.
Extra 50 marks.
That's a good
Sorry,
initiative.
can anyone help me? I've been having problem with my LinkedIn. going up and front. My post, it doesn't show. When I make a post, I see it from my end. But when anybody looks at the post, it shows page cannot display. I've written to support. I don't know. They have just been delaying.
Just check
Try to
with
remove the IP addresses from your post if you have any.
I should remove IP addresses.
Yes.
have you mentioned any IP address in your post?
I normally use, sometimes I put the live URL, sometimes I put, because basically,
Yeah,
the last
if you put any IP addresses or side events, anything, LinkedIn will not show it to others.
They will
It
block your
happened to
post.
me.
If you are
YouTube link. Okay.
if you are putting any IP address or something, they will block that content. So don't write your IP address like you are deploying the application and you are saying, okay, this is the website, just go and check. Don't do that. Otherwise, they will block your content. So that's why it is not visible, because now these days every websites they are improving the security, so they are not allowing you to post that IP addresses and all. So because it is spamming, so that's why they are not allowing you. So don't post your IP addresses, just post your content without any IP, like whatever machine you are using, don't post your IP addresses. Okay, like the link, like HTTP and then 20, 30, 40, 50, like that, don't post it. Otherwise they will
No, he can post the link if he
I
wants,
normally
but
do it before. What about
LinkedIn doesn't flag that particular IP addresses.
YouTube, or like my Medium post or Notion or Medium.
Yeah, you can post that. You can post that. Just
Because
don't post any IP addresses or side events. That's it.
The last one I posted, it was just YouTube. There was no IP address there. And from my AP book application, I noticed since last week it's not showing. I've written to them, but I even posted one this one. It still did not show, but I will still get back to them. And
now
thank you
everyone
very
is
much, sir.
improving in the securities. Now you are not able to create Gmail account also. If you are having registered phone number previously with your Gmail account, you are not allowed to create another one, because now they are using phone authentication also. So everybody is getting strict. So that's why. Okay, great.
Thank you very much, sir. Bye.
Okay, thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.